also be viewed on local cable channel 1303 or on the internet by accessing townhallstreams.com and selecting Bucksport. Questions or comments may be submitted prior to or during the meeting by emailing slassard@bucksportmaine.gov or during the meeting by calling 469-7368. Roll call, Jay.
Councilor Eastman?
Here.
Councilor Morrison?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Bissonnette is absent. Mayor Stewart?
Here.
Councilor Ormsby?
Here.
Councilor Downs?
Here.
Councilor Rankin?
Here.
Presentation of town council recognitions. We have one resolve in the honor of Betty Gray.
Yes, thank you. Tonight's resolution is in honor of Betty S. Gray, RN. Whereas Betty Gray served as health officer for the town of Bucksport, responded to an array of public health needs in the community, and worked closely with town manager Roger Raymond and code enforcement officer Jeffrey Hammond on numerous public health safety assessments and interventions that resulted in community residents receiving much-needed services and animal rescues that seemed to find a home at the Gray House when shelters were unavailable. And whereas Betty was school nurse for the Bucksport School Department, and she, Sharon Bray, Dr. John Hunt, Betty Billings, Jeannie Grindle, and others worked on implementing dental screening services at local schools. And whereas, as anyone who knew Betty understands that she believed any obstacle or barrier to progress only needed a determined, creative solution. Hence, one of the reasons she earned the nickname Bounce Back Betty. As someone who intuitively understood the concept of a communitarian approach, Betty studied the interplay of health issues on children, adults, and the community that supports them. When community norms needed to be changed on the underage use of alcohol by teens, Betty was on the front line testifying at school board and town council meetings. She would not rest until prevention programs to make a change were in place. She contacted Susan Savell, former Director of Communities for Children and Youth, to sponsor a VISTA volunteer for Bucksport. This effort led to the Bucksport School Department creating the Coordinated School Health Program. This program and others supported RSU 25 in being selected to participate in the very successful BAR program that continues to be offered today at RSU 25's high school and middle school. And whereas Betty was a founding member of the Bucksport Bay Healthy Communities Coalition in 1995 and served as coalition's co-chair along with Donna Lane Danforth for many years. Betty and Donna Lane traveled far and wide to spread the message of healthy communities, including a trip to the Johns Hopkins School of Public Health in Baltimore to accept an award recognizing the efforts by the town and coalition to improve the health and quality of life of Bucksport citizens. Signed this 25th day of August, 2022, Peter Stewart, Mayor. I'd also like to note, and this is part of my manager's report, but I will say it now, that there will be a ceremony behind the town office at the site where a white hydrangea and a plaque in memory of Betty Gray are located at 9 a.m. on Saturday, September 27th, for anyone who wants to attend. And Mr. Gray, would you like this certificate? The certificate? Sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I hope the conversation that she and Roger Raymond had not recorded.
Sue, are you certain about that date?
I'm sorry, it's August 27th.
Okay.
It's this Saturday at 9 o'clock. I told you it had been a week today. Yes, it's August 27th at 9 a.m. Out here, there's a white hydrangea and a plaque in honor of Betty, and this is your ceremony.
Thank you. Next is consider minutes of previous meetings. We have town council minutes from 8/11/2022. How would the council like to proceed?
Motion approved.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Item 5 is receive and review correspondence. We have 3 police calls, 2 on Verona on August 4th, 2022, 1 in Orland on August 6th, 2022, and we have 2 Down East Transportation ridership reports from June 2022 and July 2022. Any questions? Looked like the ridership was pretty busy there at times, which is very good. Item 6, ordinances to consider. We have second reading of Chapter 6, licensing regulations, marijuana establishments. We have a public hearing a little bit later. And the second is a second reading of proposed changes to fee schedule. I believe that's just regarding marijuana licensing also. Is that correct, Luke? The fee schedule? Okay, we'll have a public hearing on that. Any questions? Item 7 is discussion items. First is regulatory review committee meeting report from 8/25/2022. Mark?
Yep. At this meeting, we took up discontinued road discussion, and in the end, we moved forward to the council recommendation to address the use of Huey County. And see what the council thinks, but hold a public hearing and look to discontinue the road. That's our recommendation.
Okay. Any questions? So we would have that, start that discussion again next meeting,
Yeah.
There'll be a public hearing at the next meeting.
at the next meeting? Okay. Thank you. Next is Town of Bucksport Downtown District Exterior Improvement Grant Program, Community and Economic Development Director. Richard.
Good evening. So we looked into doing this program prior to COVID. We were in hopes that we would have TIF revenues rolling in from Whole Oceans. And at this point, we're really looking to get the program started, even though the Whole Oceans project hasn't started at this point, with use of unallocated funds, former TIF monies. You should have a copy of the draft proposal this week, and it's been a week. I'll echo Sue's sentiments. A one-page application and a 5-page guidelines on what we're looking at for this program. For the public, we're looking for a $100,000 initiative over the course of the next 10 months or so, depending on the availability of the funds, to assist in exterior improvements to commercial, residential, and mixed-use buildings, with the program being geared towards siding, painting, shingling, windows, doors, signage, awnings, and ADA improvements in the downtown district, with preference given to Main Street properties. This will be first come, first served. The money has to be approved by the committee first. There's a full outline of each time that the committee will meet. But I will tell you that this week alone, because it was in last week's enterprise, I've already fielded 5 phone calls. And I had someone come into the office today inquiring about the program. So I will have the guidelines and application in your email so that you have all of that to make the decision at the next meeting when we hope to have resolve.
Is it, when you're saying the committee makes it, is that the Economic Development Committee?
Yeah, one of its charges is to make those. Now, what I did do, if the council would like final oversight on that, is I put that each economic development meeting would be that Monday, give me time to get to Sue Tuesday morning, and have it on your agenda for Thursday if you would prefer to have the council make the final decision, or receive the recommendation from the Economic Development Committee.
As you have it standing right now, it would be an automatic from the Economic Development. If you make if you get an application you make a decision, that's right now the way it stands is a final decision.
No, I saved the date for the council.
Okay. All right.
I did. They would make a recommendation like normal, but I planned ahead, and then with all my dates there, it's all scheduled around council meetings. So there's sometimes a gap in when payments when applications may be approved, but it was to give council the opportunity.
Okay. Questions?
You okay with the resolve for the next meeting, which is, I think, what Rich is...
Yep. I guess that's what I was asking.
Oh, my fault. Yes, yeah.
Is everybody okay with the resolve being on the next meeting? Then we have, if Richard, you'll send that stuff out and then we can have more discussion.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. Great, thank you.
Yep, not going anywhere.
No, you're not. Go ahead.
Item C, tagline. Again, something else that started prior to COVID, when we received the marketing company, took a couple of years, pondered, requested ideas from the public via Facebook, the newspaper, phone calls. We got a great long list, and the Economic Development Committee was charged with narrowing that down, and the one that was overwhelmingly supported by the committee is the current tagline, Rich and Heritage Looking to the Future, and at the last Economic Development Committee meeting, that motion passed 9-0.
I got to ask the question, was that even discussed prior to going through this whole nut roll of putting it out and asking questions? I mean, why, if that was such an overwhelming vote, why wasn't there discussion prior to that, I wonder, from folks on the committee?
Just because we didn't know what might come forward, when we made the suggestion. It wasn't, we considered them, but it just seemed like the choice that was made was the best line available. I guess unless I'm misunderstanding.
No, I'm just trying to figure that it seemed like there was a lot of time, effort, and perhaps money put into something that.
When the marketing committee was formed, we had a meeting with the marketing firm, and there were suggested taglines, and we struggled as a committee to come up with it. So we tabled it for a little while, brought it back to the Economic Development Committee and not the Marketing Plan Committee, because we no longer work with the marketing firm. The Economic Development Committee itself has taken charge on making sure that those items are being carried forward. So when we've done that, we had a couple months of allowing the public to weigh in to make sure people had enough time if they didn't see it, if they heard about it. I know some emails and letters came in to the town manager that were forwarded to me as well, and everything was presented to the group. And when it came down to it, we asked people to list your favorites, and Rich and Heritage was, we like it the same, we like it the same. There were some that had that one with a couple others, but the majority of the people that submitted back in from the committee wanted to keep the same.
And don't take this the wrong way,
No.
please, but I guess I gotta look at, if we've gone full circle from where we're at, what are we getting from these folks that we're paying money for? Or is there just, and I know it's tough, because we've gone around and around in this for, I think, the whole time I've been on this council, trying to figure out what the heck our direction is and what we want to do. But are we, I guess, what are we trying to do? I mean, if we can't even answer a simple question or get something like that, and we come full circle and we end up right back where we're at, what are we doing?
I was feeling the same way you're feeling now, and was my recommendation to no longer go with the marketing firm, because I didn't think it was in the town's best interest for us to continue to pay an outside entity if I had a feeling we were going to end up back in the same spot.
Right.
So in order to do that, give it a little time, let it settle from where we were, have the committee that helps make recommendations to you be the committee responsible, take a holistic approach at it. There was more that came out of it, out of the tagline. The tagline should have been done sooner, earlier, but the consensus was, we like the Bay, we live out back, we want to be here, we want to be there, and there was just no. And then when we think about Rich and Heritage, look where we've come from. We were a shipbuilding town, we were a mill town, we have MMA here now, we may have a salmon farm, but we're always looking to the future on what can we do next. We seem to always have a plan in place. We seem to have an $8 million rainy day fund in place for the future to make sure that the day the mill does close, we're prepared. So I think it still rings true. I think back to the video that was created in 1997, 25 years ago this year. It was a teacher and 3 students at Bucksport who created the video with the moniker For the Rich and Heritage Looking to the Future, and it was over a timeline, and you can see people pedaling bikes. Oh, that's so-and-so, he did this in town. And I think with the people on the board, everyone had the warm and fuzzy still of this is who we were, this is still who we are. We don't want to go in a different way because we don't see ourselves there.
And I appreciate that 100%, Rich. And maybe you said it the best. We have a warm and fuzzy, and we seem to have a lot of warm and fuzzies, but we spin our tires. And I'm asking. I don't know, and I don't expect you to give me the answer tonight. But I mean, we've got to figure out, how much Again, I think we were doing a pretty good job on, without having to go and try to have somebody else tell us what we already know what we're doing right, or how we're doing things pretty good, or we're a town of 5,000 that's really come back from the, as we've said 100 times, we've come back from the dead here. And we survived, and instead of maybe trying to take giant leaps to the future, we're doing okay, I think from where I sit, we're doing okay taking these little steps and working at it as we go. It's great to have a vision and all those things, but I think that vision can probably be, I mean, we've got 65 different things, I mean, that's just a number, but we've got all these different things that we've done and looked at and thrown out there. How many more do we need to add on top of that to give you guys folks stuff that you're trying to figure out what the heck we're doing? We're trying to figure out what we're doing. Maybe it's time to just take a break and figure out exactly what we are and what we want to do. And if we're doing okay, let's be satisfied with that, and take these little steps instead of trying to jump to the front. That we'll get there. You know, we're not having people beating Sue's door down saying we've got to do this, we've got to do this. We're trying too hard, maybe, to get there, and when we don't, it gets frustrating. It gets frustrating. You know, and I don't know if we're seeing. And again, it's no reflection. It's not, and I know you know that. But what are we seeing for what we've committed? When instead, can we just do what we've been doing ourselves, and everybody's okay with that? So that's kind of where I'm. You know, and again, when I saw that we came back full circle, I'm like, of course we did. You know, I mean, that's who we are, and that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thought on this thing.
So as far as the tagline, are we done with that?
Well, that's it. I presented the recommendation to the council. We can send it back out
I really
here.
want to be done with it.
Like I say, we're right back where we started. And again, the resources, you know, just Rich's time and effort and everybody else's are coming right back full circle, and that's where we ended up. There's better things that he could probably have been doing with his time. And again, I don't want to diminish what we're trying to do, but do we really need to do it? I guess is where I'm at. And again,
Reinventing what doesn't need to be.
I've been here for almost 10, 11 years, and we're doing okay. I mean, we've been beat up and thrown away, and people have, you know, put us off for dead, and we're still sitting here, and I think we're doing okay, doing what we're doing.
I agree.
How fast do we want to try to get to there? You know, we can look, and we can figure it out, but you know, the next 15 years are going to be something different, and we don't know what that answer is going to be. I don't think it's going to be hard to try to come up with something today. You know, town, and maybe I'm all wet on this, but I look at, we don't have to be innovative as a regular business. I mean, you guys have to keep up. We have to keep up, but we don't have to keep up at the same speed as as an Apple or a Google. You know, trying to chase those things. We're doing okay. We protect the public. We make sure the roads are good. The water's clean, the toilets flush, you know, and we get those things done, and then we kind of figure out what we can do better from there. That's kind of where I'm at. I agree. The tagline is the tagline. Sign's already up. Let's put more flowers around it if we have to.
I've never been a big supporter. Not supporter, but I've never thought taglines make or break a town.
People make or break the town.
Right.
You know, I mean, the stuff that everybody does that works for the town, that lives in the town, that's what makes and breaks the town. And we've seen that right from 2015 when that place shut down, that we realized that, and we've said it 100 times, people got over, grabbed their bootstraps, and got to work here. And we've done okay. You know, we can, again, and I think we've talked about, we've all probably thought it, but nobody's really come out and said it, and I'll say it, that we don't need the flowery and all the stuff on the walls are great, and it gives you sort of a direction, but day to day, we're doing okay. And I think if we just keep that in focus, that what are we here for the town? And when folks come to us, we absolutely listen to everything that people bring to us. And I think we do a good decision on deciding what we want to go with and what we don't. I think going forward, I think we need to be a little more concise with what we say, how we decide what we're going to do. Don't be afraid to say no. You know, I think at times we say yes way too often. I think that's okay to say no. No is not a bad answer. I think we've said it in the past that, you know, somebody comes with an idea, give me a little bit more. You know, why are we doing this? But I agree, Ed. I mean, is everybody okay with the tagline staying the same? You know? And keep your efforts going where they're going, but
Yes.
but I don't want you folks to get, I don't want you to get bogged down with stuff that I'm not, for the amount of time that we've been doing these things, I'm not sure we're seeing as much effort as you folks are putting in, we're seeing the return on that.
Nope, agreed. And I think that's where the thing we spoke about earlier came out of that as well. So it's not that we're just going to do the tagline and everything else is going to wait till we get this. That'll keep getting the other pieces, get the low-hanging fruit, knock those out of the park.
I mean,
And the tagline-
build the new walls. Those are great things, you know.
I'll be back for those.
Let's make the waterfront that jewel that we want to make it. Those things, you know, the taglines and the people will show up. You know, I honestly believe those. I've said that since I got here. I've said that for a long time. You keep doing those good things you're doing. You know, you make the schools really good. You make the place a nice place to live. People will show up, or people will come. You know, we're not bankrupt yet, are we? Okay. We're doing okay. We really are. And I think people just need to realize and take a step back that we really are doing okay from where we were to where we are today. You know, we're going on 8 years of this. We're doing okay. And I appreciate all the efforts that the folks do, like I said, but I think let's concentrate more on what we do really good. Capacity is certain. I mean, you only have so much to do so much. So let's concentrate on those efforts on those things that we can affect, you know, and do day to day. So.
Very well said. Thank you.
Soapbox move.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
Anybody else have anything on that? Sorry, I took the air out of the room. Buck Memorial Library report.
We have some representatives.
Sure.
from
There is a report in your packet, but by all means.
Most, if not all of you, will be surprised tonight to hear that I'm not here to ask for anything.
Well, can I stop you real quick?
And I intend to be brief.
And again, you guys are an absolute thing. The stuff you've done here is that easy stuff that we do that brings people around, and we do those things that are easy to do, and you do a great job at it.
Thank you.
And when you ask for stuff, you show us the results, and they're all cognizant of stuff that we're looking for. So continue. And I didn't want you to have your time.
I'm not here to ask you for anything tonight. Not to say I won't be back in the future to do that, but what I am here for is to thank you for your support and your commitment to the library that you've shown, and to update you on what the town's investment has helped us accomplish, and possibly answer any questions you have. I'm hoping there aren't many of those, because I'm not sure. So you've all got the handout that I gave you, and I'm just going to go over it real quickly. 14 months, we're up to 1,124, issued 1,124 new library cards in the 14 months since we reopened. We did our first summer reading program this summer. We had 164 patrons of all ages sign up for it. There was Linda Greenlaw helped us out. We had cruise on her boat was the grand prize for the summer reading program. It was very, very well, 164. We tried to cover everything here for you, so one of the things that wasn't so great was we had a mold issue, which is an enemy of a lot of libraries in New England. And to that end, and you can read this, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but we had to get rid of about 15% of the entire collection. It had to be discarded, because if you leave it, it just infects the other books. So they had to be discarded. So the board, we did a one-time emergency fund in order to restore the collection, major investment out of our endowment in order to try and rebuild that. We also purchased a $4,000 commercial dehumidifier before we started bringing new books in. So we have new dehumidifiers, both upstairs and in the basement. Storywalk continued to be popular this year. Used 5 main books about the ocean. The last one we have is The Lobster Lady. That will close us out for the year. Artwork is wonderful on it if you haven't seen it. The Wizarding Weekend was the one that blew me away. I got a text from Lisa at noontime, and it said they had 170 people. And I'm going, this must be a typo. It must be like 17 people. And it was not. And by the end of, from 10 o'clock in the morning till 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, we had 264 people come through the library to do whatever the wizards do. So that was...
Wasn't it wands or something?
Wands, yeah, it was, but...
Magic potion.
Yeah. If there was such a thing, I'd have somebody wave it and make me feel better. The story time and the STEAM nights continue to grow. We have 30 kids. They come, or over 30. We've had as much as 70 kids show up on a Thursday to do programs that Lisa organizes having to do with the STEAM and then the story time for the younger children. Lisa's been up to the senior center 3 times. She's signing them up. She takes books up. She's hoping, she has some interest in, if the bus schedule expands, the 2 days that some of them will be coming down to the library on a regular basis. There's been an interest expressed, and I guess she's talked to Bill about transporting some of them down and so forth. So, and on September 10th, we're going to host our first book sale and bake sale at Brown Hall from 9 to 2. And we'll be participating in Maine Craft Weekend, and looking out a little further, the Candy Cane Festival at Christmas time. So that's pretty much what you've got the other version of it here, but that's pretty much what we've done, and I just wanted to let everybody know what we were doing. So there it is.
Thank you.
So that's fairly brief.
Any questions?
Yep. Any questions?
Yes, I have.
Oh, damn.
The
Yes,
books,
Jim.
the books that were destroyed by the mold, or
Yes.
were any of them rare books or hard to replace?
They
books?
were hard to replace books, but Lisa is working at it now. A lot of those, they're not rare per se, but some of them were history books,
Yeah.
and they're not easily, they can be replaced, Jim, most all of them, but they're not easily replaced, like through our normal vendors. And as noted on your sheet there, also, we have as we restock this is going to take probably a year, because it's a supply chain issue too. Because if we bought all the books we needed, even if we could snap our fingers and get them, we also have a logistics issue of where do you put all these, 2,500 books. If they all show up at one time, they've got to be covered, barcoded, and shelved. So these are all things, but
That was my next question. How many physical books is there?
it's about 2,500. It was about 15%. We were at 1,500, and then, which was about 10%, I believe. And then people were bringing books back, and they were moldy, and so forth. So Lisa's using this and her skills or her knowledge to replace these books, and the important ones, and we're looking for the historical ones through other channels, but it's going to be a process.
How are those books fixed or cleaned to where they're acceptable?
These books will not, the books that we discarded will not be cleaned.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
But there must be a method somewhere. I'm sure that if they get mold on the original documents.
I think there is, but we had nothing that was worth doing that to. Yeah, I think there is a restoration process, for instance, when they have fires and smoke and so forth. But what Lisa said, Doc, I've heard it a few times, and it's extremely expensive.
Yeah.
You know, if it is something indeed that's irreplaceable, but we didn't have anything like that.
Okay, thanks.
What are your age groups for the STEAM nights?
Oh, it starts, I believe they go down to about 6 years old, all the way up into high school.
Yep.
And different types of things aimed at some different age groups.
Who's running that?
Couple of volunteers,
Yep.
and Lisa's made the purchases for it. Actually, tonight was the last official one of summer, but we've had a lot of requests to run that into the school year.
Yep.
In which case, there may be some logistics we have to help take care of there, because we can't have 70 young people in the library at one time and
Yep.
still make room for our patrons, so
Yep.
there may be one. But that's pretty much, it covers a wide range.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Doug. Next item is foreclosure, request to advertise for sale, 23 Oak Street.
You have in your packet a copy of an account. It's a rental property. It's not a primary residence. The last payment was made on this account in December 21st of 2020. The owner was notified by a certified mail that payment was needed. Payment has not been received. I believe Mr. Weston is here this evening. This is the second time this property has appeared before you or before the council. It did several years ago, and it was redeemed by the owner. But at this point, there's $6,300 in taxes that are due, and the property's in foreclosure. And I'm requesting the permission to put it out for public sale because it is not a primary residence. We work really hard with people to save primary residence. We don't dispossess people who are living in their own home, but this is a rental property, and I don't consider it fair to other taxpayers when they're in foreclosure and not paying taxes. But Mr. Weston's here if he wishes to address you as well.
Thank you for being with me. I'm working with a credit union to get a loan to pay these, and Vita Woodwell is working with my account, and she called me right past 4, and she's wasn't able to get all the documents she needs on her end, and she also needs a couple more from me as well. We're working with the home equity, and the equity is there. There's plenty of equity, so there's no problem there. She, at the last minute, decided to go a different route as far as the type of home equity loan to benefit me, apparently. So when she did that, of course, it required different documentation that she needs. So it kind of threw her off, and she's been inundated with requests to do loans and stuff. So she was not able to give you a letter tonight as she had planned to.
Do you have tenants in there now? Are there
Yes,
tenants?
I do. We've been there for several years.
How many spaces are rented?
It's just one single family home.
Single family home.
It's the home that my grandparents built.
And so you say you're working with the bank?
Yes, yeah. Trying to get that taken care of. She decided to change it to the last minute, and it just requires some different documentation.
The letter went out July 15th on this property, and Mr. Weston contacted me on August 15th. That he had received it. We spoke this morning when he indicated to me that Seaboard would be forwarding who asked if the letter of pre-approval would be appropriate. And I said no. A letter of pre-approval is not a guarantee of payment. But I said the town would need, in order to prevent my recommendation to the council being to put it up for sale, would be a letter of commitment, which is the money is there, not if you provide something else, it isn't. And what I had indicated then is if we had one of those that I would recommend to the council that we table this until the meeting of September, the first meeting in September, and if it had not been completed, that you would move forward with it at that time. And since I had nothing in hand and nothing, have not heard from the credit union, I have not heard from anyone in that, that's why my recommendation remains what it is.
Okay.
So can I tell you what happened?
Yep.
On June 28th, I don't know if you know, but I have a nephew that uses substance abuse, and it is just ungodly. We have had him and his girlfriend and his kids at my mother's house for several years off and on, and it's relentless. It's absolutely exhausting. I'm over there every day, all night long, because he sometimes gets bad. He's going to be bad first at night, and trying to protect these kids. June 28th, he overdosed, and luckily they were able to bring him back. But at that point, that brought in Coast Child Protective Services. They had to become involved with that. So my sister and I, at that point, we were mandated to take care of the kid, and we couldn't let him out of our sights. We had a 35-day period that he couldn't be anywhere around. We went through that whole thing, and it was fine. This past Monday, this week, they came back to my mother's house unannounced. We didn't know they were coming, and they made the kids leave the house, and we have two twin boys that are 9 years old and a 10-month-old boy. And apparently, my nephew's done something that apparently that they had found out about, and we were unaware that that had happened. And that night, they were taken over to their other grandmother's house, which is in Prospect. Tuesday, they showed up again. We had quite an extended meeting, and then all of a sudden they decided they were going to take him and place him into foster care. So they just offered to rip him out of my mother's house. She's 79 years old, so it's pretty hard on her. But I've had my hands full for years trying to keep them, keep him somewhat straight and keep things calm at my mother's house especially, and keep those kids safe and keep things rolling. So it's just been, I can't even get my meal half the time. That's why I didn't get my meal until the day I called her, and I don't know, it was dated July, and I didn't realize it was later. And so I apologize for that, but it's just been, I mean, I don't know if you, anyone here has a family member that was in that situation, but it was unbelievable.
But this is, I can appreciate the last month and a half, but we're going back to 2020.
Yes, and I didn't even know that.
Please, the taxes are due every year.
I know. I don't know why. It's just
that excuse. I'll tell you right now, Mr. Webb, that excuse does not cut it here. The part that I don't know and I didn't realize.
No, it's true. It's true. I mean, I have chronic pain. It's terrible. I have a very bad back. It got much worse this past winter, and now over the summer.
But this is 2020. You're still talking 22 and stuff. We're going all the way back to 2020, and this is the second time.
Yeah.
Because we dealt with this before. I think it was 17 or 16.
I have a question.
Yep.
There are people in the property paying rent?
Yes.
And can I ask what the rent is? Is that an appropriate question?
It's $1,000 a month.
Any other questions? How would the council like to proceed?
Motion to move forward with
The question is to move forward with.
The question is to move forward with the town manager's request.
Suggestion.
Yep.
And can I clarify, he would have the opportunity to redeem within,
Absolutely.
what's the time frame, so within 30 days?
But if we put it out for bid, it's generally a 30-day period that we accept bids for, and then if the record owner provides payment within that time period, then they retain the property. If they don't, then it goes to the highest bidder.
Do you understand that? You have 30, you say you're in the process, so you've got 30 days, which is late September. If you're in the process, you should be able to get an answer to that, to be able to take care of this, okay? All right. We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? How would the council like to proceed? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next is agenda items. First is resolve 2023-12 to approve the retaining wall contract. How would the council like to proceed?
Motion to approve?
Second. Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed? You in favor, Joe?
No, so I'm in favor, yeah.
Yeah. All in favor. Thank you. Motion passes.
I just want to note that this came in on budget, which, considering the way every construction project we've looked at lately has gone sideways, the fact that this one did was really positive.
Like I said earlier, we're doing okay.
I was going to say, when you were talking about that, we are doing much better than okay.
Resignations, appointments, assignments, and elections. I don't believe we have any, other than, and I can't remember, September 2nd, Jake, is the 8th, September 8th for nomination papers to be submitted. By close of business that day, correct? Thank you. Approval of quick claims, discharges, and deeds. We have none. Town manager report, and also the Bucksport Y report for July is included.
The project in Jacob Buck Pond Culvert, that's the, I pulled out last.
Yeah.
Last time.
There you go.
The last day this year for the Tim Emery Municipal Pool is Friday, August 26th, and the hours for that last day are 11 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. They've this week run into some staffing issues this last week as people have gone back to school, etc. But it is open then. And then on Saturday, August 27th, before the pool is drained for the season, it will be open from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. for a K9 pool party. The stipulations that the dog swimming only, the Y is taking donations of either $5 per dog, an animal toy, or a dog or cat food, then to make sure that it's something your dog will be comfortable with and is good and around other dogs, similar to the dog parks. And all donations from the event will be donated to the Bucksport Animal Shelter. So that this was a request that they made, and they, since it's after the close of the season and before the pool is drained, I thought it would be a good idea. There's been a lot of positive feedback on this. The Jacob Buck Pond Culvert project is progressing well. The old culvert has been removed, and they are working on the support structure for installation of the new one. I received the contract from the Department of Marine Resources for the additional funding needed for this and the Bucks Mills Road project, so now that is also finalized. Excuse me. The Silver Lake Road project, the reclaim grade paved project on Silver Lake Road, is also proceeding well. Unless the weather deteriorates significantly, the reclaim grade portion and a binder coated pavement should be on the entire project area by tomorrow. Final paving, roadside edging, and driveway connections will follow that.
The road is very nice.
You can go fast, Em.
Oh, let me tell you. There's going to be that.
That paving out there, that doesn't bother that to be put down in the rain?
The binder coat that they've been working on it's not the final coat, but I think that
It's okay, it's going to hold. I mean, it's not going to just float right off the
right.
original.
No, that's the more porous of that.
It's got no, I know roofing, when you throw a hot tire down, it better not be raining.
The first half of taxes are due by August 31st in order to avoid interest, and as of August 24th, we have collected 37% of the property taxes. I'm estimating that by end of business on Tuesday, we will have collected 48 to 49%, which is pretty close to the 50% that we hope to have. And as I said earlier, there will be a short ceremony behind the town office at the site where the white hydrangea and the plaque in memory of Betty Gray are located at 9 o'clock on Saturday, August 27th.
Any questions? There's also a Bucksport Y report. I wasn't here at the last meeting, but I think it was announced that Peter Farragher is getting done at the last meeting, so that huge loss for the Y community, and he's been a champion for Bucksport even before we were associated with them, so I assume that they're going to be advertising for a new director for that right off.
They are. His end date is January of 2023.
Okay.
They're in the process. He had contacted me and indicated they have a very strong board right now and a very strong management team, and they will be working on a replacement to be in place by January when he's done.
Sue, will this new skate park be under the Wise jurisdiction? I mean, are they...
The overall management of how that might work has not been discussed with the Y as far as adding it to their programming. I know that at one point when it was initially discussed, Rich, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure that the Y was interested in operating a skate park in addition to the other thing, because staffing is, there's only one of them most of the time, and finding enough to go around, that would be more difficult. When we talked about the skate park, the pieces that haven't been discussed yet are how it would be managed and the oversight and all that kind of thing. But the Y has not indicated an interest in doing that.
I see.
Any other questions? All right, next is public hearings. First is a public hearing on Chapter 6 licensing regulations, marijuana establishments. I'll open the public hearing. It's a proposed amendment to the Town Code, Chapter 6, business licensing, adding language regarding licensing of marijuana establishments. Any questions? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. All those in favor? Opposed? I didn't think we needed one on a public hearing. We do?
Approve the amendment.
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment.
First, we'll recall that last vote, okay? I'll ask for a motion.
Second.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Didn't change.
Opposed? Next, we have a proposed public hearing on proposed changes to fee schedule. Open the public hearing. We have a proposed amendment to the town's fee schedule. Add a fee for licensing of marijuana establishments. Add a fee for licensing of on-premise liquor consumption. Add a fee for filing an appeal. Increase the fee for dining, retail, and innkeeper's license and building permits. Any questions or comments? Yes, sir. If you could come right up here and give us your name, please.
Yeah, I'm George Rodino. I own Green Island Road with my wife on Rhode Island. And I'm just curious, because I haven't heard any of the discussion, is the fee being set, or has that been put out there for what the town wants to levy for licensing, specifically marijuana stores or other facilities?
Yep.
I just wanted to hear what that proposal was.
So I was going to say, I'm looking for it, but it's $500.
Okay. Well, I didn't have to show up. That's very reasonable. I agree with the proposed amount, and I think that that's in line with what, that seems to make sense to me, so that's good. I was hoping that it was viewed similarly to other establishments, like a restaurant or alcohol, that it wouldn't create extra undue burden on your services or code enforcement, and so to me that sounds reasonable.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions?
The building permits, we were going to discuss that.
Yes.
With some numbers.
The last, we were talking about some of the fees proposed related to increasing the fees for building permits. And at the last meeting, you asked me, or asked us to figure out what it cost, so to speak, for Luke to do the series of inspections necessary on the 7 inspections necessary, not plumbing, those are separate. The 7 inspections necessary for the construction of a normal, we'll say 1,200 square foot house that he goes out once to do each one. There are 7 inspections, and his rate per hour, the benefits associated with his position, and mileage, it's approximately $350 as a cost of his time to do those. If there's no additional, you go once and it's not ready, you have to go back, you know, but those kind of additional things, that's the...
Like the homeowners' questions.
That doesn't take into account any of that. This is just the inspections that are...
And if they go smoothly.
If they go on time every time, it's not, you know, but because that was the question in looking at what our permit fees were, how did that relate to the amount of time that code enforcement was spending on individualized.
And I think if I remember hearing right, the thought process was, why are we putting that on all the rest of the taxpayers instead of putting it on the person that's doing the asking for the service, correct? I think that's what you guys were kind of getting at when you were asking.
That's what I was getting at.
Somebody was. I remember hearing somebody get at that. Yeah.
And Luke, how do our fees compare with neighboring communities as they stand now?
Oh, as they stand now.
Or both? Both.
All right, so Surrey is 20 cents, Warrington is 20 cents a square foot, Verona is 25 cents a square foot, Holden is 60 cents a square foot, Rivers 50 cents a square foot, Belfast does it a whole different way.
What are we presently a square foot?
10 cents a square foot. And that's been that way, as far as I can tell, since at least the early 90s and maybe before that. So I'm not one to want to gouge people at all.
No,
fair is fair.
And it's appropriate to tax those that are using the service, not the rest of the community to pay for, to contribute towards somebody's
And I
behalf.
think that was a great point that was brought up, that, you know, one, it hasn't been adjusted for probably 30 years.
And you, I'm sorry, you have to perform just as many inspections on 1,000 square foot as you do a 2,000 square foot, correct?
I do, yeah.
Might be
Might take a
quicker.
little longer on the bigger one, but that's about it.
I mean, I'd be in favor of going to the 20 cents, which are consistent with the surrounding towns. It's not 50, 60 cents. It's, you know, it's just what they would find going to Ellsworth, you know, or any other surrounding town.
That's what I was asking last time, of the rough cost of him going out there. $350, so we're not getting that now. It's not even.
That's a total of all inspections, correct?
The 7
$350.
inspections, one time each time, yes, and mileage to go with.
So on a 1,500 square foot house at 20 cents, you're getting $300 is what we'd be collecting for a permit fee.
What we would be, right now we're getting 150.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems reasonable to me.
It does. It does to me. I
Okay,
was a little
so
hesitant last time, but hearing, that's why I wanted to hear it.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me.
perfect. Any other questions?
Any questions on any of the other fees? Okay.
Any other questions? Hearing none. Close the public hearing. How would the council like to proceed?
I make a motion, we move forward, fees as stated, and bring back in the 20 cents per square foot. Unless that, was that eliminated last time, or?
I think it's
still
okay.
still in there.
Okay.
Still in
Still
there.
in there.
Then leave it as is.
It's what the public saw.
Yep.
So motion to approve the fee schedule change.
second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Next is a liquor license renewal for the Northeast Historic Film. How would the council like to proceed?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Discussion items not on the agenda for the council of the public. We'll open it up to the public. Anybody in the public have anything that's not on the agenda? Anybody on the council have anything that's not on the agenda? Mark?
The other thing I'd add, I've heard a couple complaints in recent months of our AV situation, that it's spotty and people can't hear us.
I will tell you, watching it the other night,
I watched the same one.
I will agree 100% that this needs to be a priority.
It's a
folks.
good use of ARPA funds, if nothing else, you know.
I will tell you that Jim Morrow is putting together a package for sound improvements for this facility that will be coming to you.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
that was a discussion that we knew we needed to have happen in this year, and
You especially, I
that
couldn't
is,
hear you at all.
No.
I believe there's cameras and the microphone system, those kind of things, and it will tie in to the changed vendor that we're going to be using to air our meetings, who have it's a higher level of, I'm so techno stupid that it's not.
It's better stuff.
It's better stuff. That the picture quality and the audio quality will be.
Thank you.
Jim, will be significantly improved. Part of what happens, though, because what I get is, why can I never hear X? You really have to pay attention to your microphone when you're speaking in order to even have a shot right now at getting heard. So we used to have a counselor who would do this, and when he talked, I would always lean ahead, because that was part of our issue as well. But
Okay. We do have a plan in place.
we have a plan.
Thank you. Anything else from the council? Ed?
Question or status update, the waterfront, I know we were looking into, like, talking with engineering on what we can do, resurfacing. I haven't heard anything.
We're waiting on the engineer to report, and we have been hounding him because we're not pressed. He keeps telling us it's coming, and then next week it's coming, and then nothing, so.
Are we gonna have different options for resurfacing, or is that not part of it?
No, not for resurfacing, that's not something.
I thought we did ask for researching options.
To take the brick out and pave?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, we know it's the riprap, right? I mean,
Yeah. So the most recent update's 16 August. So this is taking longer to wrap up than I estimated. We've got most of the report and additional renderings for rerouting the path, and I'm planning to have Dan review it this week, early next week, and then submit it to you. So I was expecting at the beginning of this week. I'll reach out again next month. They've been reaching out every 2 weeks. So,
Keep reaching.
yeah.
Because I think that's that's a really important one, like you mentioned earlier, what we're doing.
Let's do it good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And resurfacing, I think, is a big,
Yep.
big issue with that, not just the riprap, but.
Yeah.
Is anybody indicating what's the best we can hope for in longevity with whatever they do?
As in surface?
Yeah,
So we've had that discussion a bunch about the surface, and honestly, taking out those bricks, and because you can't pave over them, so taking all those bricks out and putting paved surface in there would be extremely expensive. Not sure that the benefit is worth the cost, but, I mean, we can certainly look at that, but you're talking a lot of money. And the bricks, they're kind of a nice character piece that, you know.
It's the fact that they
it's
leave an
different.
uneven surface over time.
Yeah, but the pavement will do that over time too, once we switch to pavement. I mean, it's,
Fair statements. I think this is one of those things that people don't want to talk about and listen to.
for sure.
You know, is it a 12-month place out there, or is it
Right.
11 months or 9 months? Can we do little sections at a time? You know, can we do where you know,
And that's a
down here?
possibility, but that wasn't the focus of the
I get it,
study.
I get
The
it.
focus was the
The
riprap,
deterioration down there.
especially Hoffman's Point, and whether a potential alternate route was available there, and whatever other structural issues that he believes, that's why we're waiting on the report.
Yep.
To see where he thinks we should address first in order to maintain what we have and not lose anything.
Perfect.
And then if we can make it better, all the better, but the focus right now is to maintain what we have and not lose anything.
Have they,
All department, oh, sorry.
go ahead.
Sorry. All department heads were at that meeting. Maine Water was there, talked about manholes, and so each department head also had an opportunity to speak on, this is our future plan, please plan this waterfront plan around our renovations, down dock, marina, everything. So everyone had a chance to speak.
Jim?
My question is, have they made a suggestion as to the longest term fix that we can get here? Have they said,
Not yet. That's why we're waiting on that report, and we keep hounding them for it because we expected it months ago. So it's kind of frustrating, but kind of they've got our hands tied behind their back.
report may get lost in shipping?
I think what it is that every engineer I know is crazy busy,
right, yeah.
and so you hound them and they work on it for a day or two, and then somebody else hounds them and they switch to that, and I think that's what's happening, but that's just my guess.
Anything from GEI on the town dock upgrades?
No.
Or where do we stand? Or where do we stand?
GEI is actually who's doing the waterfront improvements
Okay.
for us as the engineers. In regards to the town dock, I'm going to reach out to the attorneys. We haven't had an update recently, unless.
Well, the judge just conditionally approved. What we expected to hear approved as a plan between that was approved between the people who sued and the people who got sued over that Holtracom issue. We expected here in December, and it just came out that there's a conditional approval by the judge on that, which may allow the committee that's in charge of disseminating the public money to make some decisions. But that just happened like within the last week.
At least something happened.
Yes.
Is there any further action being taken place for the Mercury up in the river? Are they,
That is all part of this settlement, that there are certain actions that have to be taken as a result of it that involve the river itself. There are others that are restoration projects in other areas where the mercury was to try and mitigate it. It's a huge piece of work in terms of what this compromise was. There was initially the idea of dredging huge amounts of this river, and that has taken a back burner because the offense occurred a long, long time ago, and much of what occurred is now encapsulated under other stuff. And the stuff that isn't, that's the more volatile, is what they're talking about trying to address. But they're not trying to address it in the same manner that the original proposal, which was dredging huge areas of the river and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, from what I understand, the marsh across the river is about the worst place because it's settled in there and percolating to the top.
Yep.
Mercury oxide or something like that, or whatever the.
Yes, and they're doing bird studies and all sorts of things related to that to see what the best way to address that. But that's part of the settlement, part of the money that Holtracom Mellencrop has to pay is to fund all of that. I think it's 180 million is the settlement amount, with 20 million as a earmarked for projects in communities most impacted by what has occurred. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
One more status update, not to ruffle any feathers, but is there anything gonna happen at the salmon farm?
My understanding is that they were taking down a tank and doing some site work. Luke probably knows more than
They are on site off and on doing little things, but it is real slow going. The green tank that they were going to take down, the contractor was looking at it and decided it warranted a second look to see if it was worth saving, because they felt like it was in really good shape. It had already been inspected once and passed inspection, so they're having it inspected again, because if it's reusable, it would cost about $50,000 to do whatever needs to be done to make it usable by them, whereas to put a new one in is millions.
For water?
They did not specify what it would be used for, but I would assume water. I don't know.
You're talking the old Sprague Energy
The green tank that's
international
on the
paper.
back side of the mill site, you can see from Prospect.
Number 2 heating.
On the
No,
bunker
number
seat.
2,
Oil for the boilers at one time.
bunkers, number C, whatever it is.
Yeah. So, that's what I heard. That's why that's still there, but I don't know how long it'll take them to do that second inspection and determine whether they really want to tear it down or not, but they just felt like it's a lot of money to try and replace it if we tear it down and you guys change your minds, so.
Thank you.
Yep.
I just get bombarded all the time of what's going on. It's coming soon.
Yep. I think, again, hearkening back to what we talked about earlier, we just got to keep taking steps forward, and what will happen will happen. You know, I mean, we've been told a lot of things, and we've had a lot of things happen and talk about. We can only control what we can control. We can ask the questions, we can get an answer, but we really do have zero control over that. And,
It's out of our control.
you know, so I think we try to control what we can and keep doing a good job. So,
The M&A project is moving ahead.
what we can control, we will control. Last thing, or one thing I wanted to talk about is, and again, according to our charter, I've been kind of taking note of meeting times and what we've been doing and some of the stuff we've been having, and again, taking care of folks' time. Time is important. You know, our time, staff time. I think in January, when we have a new council sitting and we're meeting, I think we take the opportunity to look at maybe going to one meeting a month and see if we can accomplish what we need to accomplish during then. That according to the charter, that's the time when you can make that decision. We can always call a special second session or as many sessions as we need, especially during budget time. We can schedule those. But I think, you know, there have been several meetings that we've gone for a half an hour, and it's cost more in staff time and our time just to come in here and what are we getting accomplished? What if we stay for an extra 45 minutes or something one night a month rather, and we can get more things accomplished. So when we get settled in January, I'll probably bring that up during some of our initial hearing. If I'm still sitting in this chair, you know, I'll make a motion anyway to look at maybe going to one meeting a month. So just think about that as we go forward and where we're at. I'm going forward. You know, we'll continue with a couple of, if things pop up and we have folks that can't make it, that's fine. If we get to a point where we have 3 or 4 of us that can't be here for one night, then we can adjust as we need to. So, but again, as I said all the time, I appreciate what you guys do, and I want to appreciate your time, and make sure that we're actually getting stuff accomplished when we're here and not just showing up for the sake of showing up. So, anything else? All right, next is public hearings, committee assignments, and committee meetings. I don't believe we have any. So as it stands right now, our next meeting will be on September 8th at 1900, 7 o'clock.
We do have a couple of meetings. We have cemetery committee next week.
Cemetery committee, no, week after next.
Right.
Next,
Right. And then economic development after that.
yes, September 6th is cemetery committee, and economic development is the 12th, right, Rich?
Yes.
All right, take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All those in favor? Opposed? Jim was in favor, I know.